like the MO for this Miami Central offense, especially when McQueen is playing his best football, is just efficient initially. They can eat away at the clock with their talented backs in their backfield and even McQueen's legs, but they like to score relatively quickly. And so here I think you're seeing efficiency. He's not going to throw the ball too much tonight. I don't think he will need to. They normally don't want him to. You're going to score quickly, and if anything, you start eating up at that clock in the second half, where they usually make their presence known in these games.
So the Vikings offense, will now come on to the field. What do you think they got to do in order to catch up? Like you said, it's going to be high scoring.
I think they have to lean on their guy, and Yapor, who is like the Josh Allen of this team. The completion percentage is not the flashiest thing in the world. It sits around 54 to 57% per game. He's at 57% completion on the season, but he is Josh Allen type athletic. He is going to get it done. He is going to will them to score in a way that is just so exciting to watch. He's a very complete football player. Some guys you say, oh, they're a quarterback, they're a linebacker. Yapor is a football guy. He's going to do whatever it takes to score. I can't wait to see, especially initially, even though I think the fatigue will show it'll rear its ugly head later on in the game. I think they'll come out and they'll try to play with some fire here.
So you keep mentioning the fatigue. How does Norland, how do they plan around that? Because again, 4 days compared to the 13. Of course, Miami Central, they do got that extra rest. It's going to be an advantage. So how do you, if you're Norland, how do you plan around that to try to gain as much of an advantage as you can while facing a deficit?
I think you just try to be good early, because you're not going to play your best football late in the game. So you really want to make sure that these drives are well planned out. Maybe some of those play calls that are really creative to scheme guys open that you would leave towards the end of a ball game, you implement those in the first few drives because you're going to need them.
Yapor, he's going to hand it off to the back. Gains a couple yards on the play. It'll bring up second down.
Nice play there, nice run. Maurice Clark, 5'10", 155, not the biggest guy in the field, but they're going to give him the ball and allow him some room to kind of maybe see if he can start eating away at the clock. If you can establish a run game, that's in their favor, because they don't want to be just dropping back uselessly, not being able to waste time on the actual clock of the game. They want to be efficient here. They want to get out of here as quickly as possible. If you can drain that clock and just play fewer plays, that works to your advantage.
Maurice Clark with the first carry, gain of 3, 2nd and 7 coming up. Yapor steps back, looks, fires over the middle, has his man brought down at the 35-yard line. That was caught by number 7, Dawson Quarterman. You mentioned him earlier, wide receiver 1 for the Vikings.
Zion Perret. That is the kind of here comes the boom hit that you've seen online. And it looks like right now, unfortunately, he's out on the field right now, and they're sending out trainers. That was a scary hit. That was a massive hit.
Yeah, that was a really big hit around the 35-yard line.
I think as a defense, you try to establish dominance and tempo early on, and obviously they try to do it there, and injuries are never something you hope for, but there is a lot of concern right now on the football field. Let's take a look at this replay. So Yapor throws it, almost tapped by the DB. You'll see as the ball comes out right over the middle, and then he just lays that massive hit. And then Zion, celebrating the play, kind of stands over him there. Not ideal, especially in retrospect. Yeah, he is still down right now.
Yeah, he almost threw him down like it was a wrestling move. Like just the way he laid him down onto the field. Let's take a look at this again.
Coaches always tell you, keep your head on a swivel, and this is the reason why. This is a grown man hit right here. The ball comes out over the middle. He's just running his route, doesn't quite secure possession of the ball quite yet. Stands over him.
Put the hammer down on Quarterman. Still down. So we'll take a quick commercial break. You're watching the Vikings and the Rockets here on HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are up here in the booth, and obviously they are now on the field right now, and they were able to get him up off the ground. And that's one of those situations where you really want to celebrate the hit, but at times you just want to make sure the player is all right. Football is a physical sport. I understand that there's plays like that make parents worried, but by the same token, you don't want to take the physicality out of the game. And it was a clean play. It's just a hard hit. That is football, and that is South Florida football. That's what it's built on.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you mentioned it while we were under the commercial break. That is exactly that, Florida football. So here we go. Zoom once again. He's going to throw it off to the side. As his man, should be enough for the first down. Looks like that was number 22, Nathaniel Rosario. Was that Maurice Clark?
Maurice Clark, I love that outside speed. Get it to him in space. Let him get the yards after the catch. That's what that feels like. Obviously, a weird stoppage in play. Let's just get the ball into one of our players' hands, a high percentage throw, and let's get in a rhythm here. That's what that felt like to me.
So the Vikings able to pick up the first down as they move the chains for the first time on this drive. Now, you mentioned before with Dawson Quarterman being such an integral part of this team. With him being out for the time being, how is that going to affect this team in the short term?
Well, I think Dawson Quarterman is the wide receiver one, undeniably so, of that team.
Well, we go with Yapur with the quarterback keeper. Gains a couple yards on the play. It'll be second down coming up.
So Yapur is a bigger guy, and that's where I said the Josh Allen comparison comes in. He loves to utilize his own legs if he doesn't see something downfield. But Miami Central's pass rush does a great job of containing him there. That's a rare moment for Daniel Yapur where he puts his head down and tries to bulldoze his way through, and he doesn't get a lot of yards.
Yapur, 6'25", like you mentioned, a big fella indeed. Josh Allen comparison, pretty good. I would have to figure out exactly what Josh Allen's stats were during his time in high school. We're going to hand it off again. 23 again. Clark finding room. Continues to work his way through. Almost at a 50-yard line. Moves the chains again for the Vikings. It's another first down.
Love what they're doing with Maurice Clark. He is currently ranked 3rd this year in terms of rushing yards per game. And take a look here. A speedy guy, likes to get to the outside, as you can see. Get him in space, and he can just move and juke guys out. Just a great run from them, and he's allowing them to establish that run game, which is going to be so important tonight's game in terms of taking time off the clock.
So the Vikings move the chains as we got a timeout on the field. We'll take a quick commercial break. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
I want to see all my friends at once. Friends at once. I wanna see all my friends at once. I wanna see all my friends at once.
This is it. Our last night sharing a room. Tomorrow we'll be in our new home.
They told you buying a home would take years, but didn't help you start. Still, you kept trying.
You'll have a yard to play in, a place to dream.
Hope makes it happen. With tailored mortgage solutions, Hope Credit Union makes home ownership happen for thousands of people, regardless of income or credit. Brighter futures begin with Hope.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Rockets on top 7-0 over the Vikings. The Vikings with possession as they've officially entered into Rockets territory. Alongside Ben Cure, I'm Armani DePaul, bringing you today's coverage here for the GMAC Championship game. Vikings throw it, go to number 16, brought down, gains a couple yards. We got a flag on the field. Ronald Towns with the catch. We got a flag on the field.
Wonder what this was about.
We'll see what the refs say.
Yeah, I didn't see. I didn't catch it initially.
So it's on the offense.
So that's going to move Norland backwards here. Obviously, when Norland gets things going on the ground, anytime you get things going in terms of positive yardage, you don't want to negate that. You can't win a game in the first quarter, but I do feel like you can lose it. And I think penalties are always a really underrated part of these games. And as you can see, the official signals, we're moving things backward for the Vikings.
So a loss of yards for the Vikings, but let's see what they can do with it this time. Still got a first down on the marker. Let's see, first penalty on the drive. They've been moving the ball very efficiently so far. Let's see what they got here. They're going to toss up once again. Number 23. Looks like we have a helmet get knocked down. Not enough quite for the first down, but nearly close. It'll be 3rd and short coming up.
Big 3rd down here coming up for a team that, like I said, you want to give your best play calls and you want to make your best plays early because you're simply not going to be able to late. These are young men. I'm not underestimating their ability to bounce back. But 4 days ago, just playing football, that's a quick turnaround.
Maurice Butler was the back with the carry. He is still in the backfield along with Yapur. Yapur, he's going to throw it, fires, has his man. It's going to be enough to move the chains for the first down.
Just some great physical football being played there. Don't want to let your man get yards after the catch. They reel him in out of bounds. It is good enough for a first down, but you don't allow anything more. Don't allow plays to bleed into the red zone this early if you're Miami Central.
Yeah, absolutely. And even for the Vikings, I mean, it's not a big play, but you still get the first down, and that's all you really need at this point. You're working yourself down the field efficiently. Haven't really seen too many big plays through the air as of yet. And early on in this game, I'm not sure we're going to see that quite yet.
Well, when you're missing your wide receiver one after a big-time hit like that, maybe you're a little hesitant to use your other guys to throw the ball downfield.
Not much room for the Vikings. Good job by Miami Central's defense. Is going to be a gain of about 1 yard, 2nd and 9 coming up.
Miami Central is making a concerted effort right now to not allow Norland to establish the run game. That's what this is coming down to. They're willing to take things to the back end. As you can see, the wide receivers, nobody's getting doubled. They don't feel that kind of threat. They don't feel the need to. They're going to stack the box because they don't want Norland to establish the run. That's what you're seeing early here.
Gain of only 1 yard on the run. It'll be 2nd and 9 coming up. Still got it back in the field.
Great hustle.
Here we go. Yapur looking. He's going to keep for himself. Now he's going to fire. Has his man, number 23, steps out, and that is, once again, Maurice Clark moving the chains for the first down.
The connection tonight between Maurice Clark and Enyo Yapur is so evident, and that's where Enyo Yapur's ability as a bigger guy in the football field at the quarterback position and his ability to extend plays is so invaluable. He buys himself an extra second in the pocket, which is an eternity, finds his man open to the route coming across the middle, and just drops it off to him. Great football being played, and as you can see, they're taking a bit of a break.
And you got to imagine, even with Clark, you know, Quarterman out for the time being due to that hit, his role is going to be increased for the time being. You got to imagine. So there was a timeout on the field, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, folks. You're watching. So we'll keep it with you for now, correction. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Clark. With Quarterman out for the time being, you got to imagine that his role is going to be increased.
I agree, and I think Maurice Clark, the interesting part here is they didn't expect him to be a huge contributor tonight. He's just the 3rd leading rusher on the team. So you don't expect a lot of him from a box score perspective, but he has made his presence known tonight early in this ball game, and they're really going to lean on him if he can utilize that outside speed and beat Miami Central's very talented, very quick DBs.
Well, they're going to hand it off to him. Continuing to break through tackles, stop to the 25-yard line. That is number 27 with the carry.
That's Omar Jeffries, 5'10", 155 pounds, similar in terms of build to Maurice Clark. Just guys who can get to the outside quickly and make big-time plays. That home run speed to the outside has been so helpful for them tonight. Their plays aren't coming over the middle. They've got one play over the middle right now that took out their wide receiver one. They're going to be a little hesitant to throw the ball over the middle for that reason. If they're going to play like the Legion of Boom out there, Miami Central has physical DBs. They're going to lay the wood on those tackles. They're going to try to race them to the outside using that run game.
So we had a flag on the play, and a series of events happened. It looks like it's on the defense. It's going to move the offense pretty much at the red zone. It's going to help the Vikings, which you mentioned it earlier, how chewing the clock out. Talked about it earlier with North Central's offense. They only chewed about a minute or 2 minutes off the clock. We got just a little over 4 minutes of counting as they're going to hand off to the back. Again to 27. Not much room there over for Amar Jeffries.
Not a huge gain there, but like I said, they're going to lean on that run game because if you can get the run game going in any way, shape, or form, it's going to eat away at the clock. And for a team that's fatigued, that's coming off just 4 days of rest, I'm going to continue to say it, they want to get out of here as quickly as they possibly can. So if they can establish the run game and drain that clock like they have, that's going to be the recipe for success tonight.
3rd and 4 coming up for the Vikings. He's got Yapur, and then you got Maurice Clark in the backfield. Clark, mentioned it earlier, his role is going to have to increase with Quarterman out. Here we go, caught, nope, incomplete.
So I think that's one of the only weaknesses, if there is one, to Enyo Yapur's game. He's coming into the night with 57% completion on the year. Not ideal, not great for a quarterback. He's hyper athletic, he can make the throws, he can make the plays, but in terms of putting the ball in a keyhole, that's not who he is, and those are the kind of plays that I always think he's going to want back. So obviously misses his man there. He'll have other opportunities though tonight.
So it looks like they're going to keep the offense out, and they're going to go for it here on 4th down.
I think, like I said, you want to play your best football early if you're Norland, because you're not going to play your best football late, considering that you played football 4 days ago.
So you still got Clark in the backfield alongside Yapur. Looking. He's going to keep it for himself. Has he got enough for the 1st down? He does. Nice work by Yapur, utilizing his legs and moving the chains.
That is where Yapur is the most dangerous version of himself. When he doesn't see anything downfield, he decides not to throw it into trouble. Look at this, has great vision. He's keeping his eyes downfield, but he realizes, I'm one of the biggest athletes on this field, makes a move there, breaks a tackle, moves forward, picks up the 1st down. That is Enyo Yapur football, and that's been Norland football all year long.
Norland moves the chains for the 1st down off the quarterback keeper by Yapur. Like you mentioned, continuing to pound the rock. And so far it's paid dividends. Yapur looking. Breaks one. Gets brought down.
Yapur gets tripped up there by a turf monster, obviously trying to make a move there. Goes down. And the pressure was being brought there. They wanted to make sure that they had him uncomfortable, rolling out. Now here's the problem. Enyo Yapur, 9 times out of 10 on that kind of a play, he's going to roll out and he'll continue to extend the play with his legs and he'll make a play downfield. So a risky gamble there, but it pays off for Miami Central.
Big loss. 2nd and long coming up for the Vikings.
A windy night here at Traz Palace Stadium. Beautiful weather earlier, but certainly a little bit of light rain.
And do you think, with the weather conditions, that's playing into why we're seeing the run so heavy?
I would assume so, for sure. And I'm a fan of hard-nosed football. I don't think we see it enough, so I don't mind the run game being utilized at all.
So speaking of the run game, they run it here with Davis, and he's finally, Clark, and he's finally brought down.
Clark got put in a blender there as they tried to bring him down, and eventually goes down after a nice gain, but he twirls around, but not before picking up a nice gain.
So it'll be 3rd and 15 coming up. Gains a couple of the penalty yards back, but not all. So what do you think the Vikings need to do here? You got to imagine that, they'll probably go for the field goal if it becomes a 4th down, or maybe not, because they went for it on the 4th down the last try, but let's see. So got Clark in the backfield. Yapur looking, fires, has a man. Did he complete it? They did! They're calling it the touchdown.
I'd love to take a look at that replay if we have one, but right now they are ruling that a catch, and that's what it's going to be. Vikings march down the field, they eat up a ton of the clock, and let's take a look at the replay here. Let's see, Armani, I want to see what you have to say about this. Drops back, textbook throw, slings, steps into the throw, and that to me looks like it might have been a touchdown because the forearm stays down. Just an incredible play by the wide receiver to keep that ball up in the air. Don't let it touch the ground. Just great hands from this Norland Vikings team. A team that can run the ball so well, that has a great pass rush. You're just witnessing 2 very complete football teams. It is the GMAC Championship. They're ranked respectively 6 and 7 in the state according to Max Preps. And you're going to see plays being made like that all night long by each of these teams. And a nice little chip kick there.
Extra point is good. Courtesy number 29, Amir Jordan. So we got a tie game here, 7-7. We'll take a quick commercial break. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Something amazing is happening here. Inventory is practically moving itself, quickly and securely. Classrooms are getting more immersive. Data is powering insights and imagination. CDW partners with you to get the most from your technology. We work with you to plan it, build it at scale, and manage it, so you can do amazing things. Make amazing happen. CDW.
Welcome back, folks. HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. We got a tied game here, 7-7, with a minute 42 to go. So first it was the Rockets that quickly marched their way down the field, and then the Vikings responded in kind, but chewed a lot of clock out, and only a minute 42 left to go here, Ben, in quarter number 1.
Like I said, Norland is going to want to run the ball because it favors them in terms of just eating the clock away. It gets them out of here quicker. You don't want to have a long second half. You do not want to have the clock stopping after each incompletion, so they want to get things going here early. Like I said before the game started, I thought Central, coming off a few days rest, might struggle to find rhythm offensively, but was going to have a great game plan, and I wouldn't be surprised if they scored on their first 2 offensive drives. They scored on the first one. I expect them to score on the second one. I don't think it's a hot take.
And you mentioned it earlier, how running the ball so effectively. Talked about it before, talked about it as well with...
Weird how everybody just kind of stopped there. That's a situational football moment right there. You got to know that ball is alive. That's a chip kick. Clearly, Norland is trying to do something creative. Miami Central has to be aware of that. I mean, that's like when your controller gets disconnected in Madden and you freak out for a couple seconds. That's what that felt like to me right there.
Yeah, like that is the perfect analogy to say the controller disconnected. That is exactly what that play felt like. So here we go. We're gonna do it all over again. We talked about it earlier, how, you know, called a flag on the kickoff, but talked about it earlier how running the ball down the field, but also because of the weather conditions, it's been sprinkling a little bit here in Miami. And on top of that, the weather, which has been plaguing South Florida all day long, not only due to the hurricane as well, but the winds have really picked up these last few days. If you joined us in yesterday's broadcast, I mean, the wind was heavy to the point where, I mean, the ball, they couldn't even set it up correctly for kickoff.
Great awareness by number 3 for Miami Central. That's Khalil Sterling. Miami Norland was trying to catch him off guard there. You've got to know in that situation, okay, this is a chip kick, this is coming in from the top. They're obviously either looking to lay the wood, lay the boom, they're looking for a big tackle there, or they're looking for you to freak out, panic, hesitate, and not pick up the football. That's what it almost felt like happened on the previous attempt of that kick. Almost happened there again, but Khalil Sterling just had good situational awareness in that moment, hops into the ball, picks that thing up, and there's no love lost.
So here comes the Miami Central offense onto the field. Of course, they scored pretty quickly earlier in the first quarter. They're now tied at 7-7. What does this Vikings defense need to do to, let's say, get your prediction wrong and then score in their second drive?
I think they would have to utilize that pass rush, right? They've got great guys who can get tackles for loss. They can get into the backfield. They can bring down the quarterback. They've done it all year long, but they've got to do it to this Miami Central team if they want to prevent them from scoring on this drive.
No, they're going to give it to number 3. You mentioned him earlier, Sterling. Still can't bring him down, and Sterling nearly picks up the first down, and he actually now just a little bit short, but a great...
That's where I don't care if it was a first down or not. What an effort by Khalil Sterling. Goes cross country, cuts all the way to the left, makes a man miss, outraces the linebacker that was trying to tackle him in the backfield on the left side, swoops back around to the right side. Incredible play there by Miami Central, proving that they do have one of the most talented football teams in the entire country, in my opinion.
2nd and 1 coming up for Miami Central off 9-yard gain for Khalil Sterling. Got Anthony McQueen in at quarterback. That's what they do this time. McQueen and to number 1, but incomplete, intended for number 1, Jaden Ford.
I'm a big fan of Jaden Ford. I hate that right there. I've always said if I was playing fantasy football and I was drafting these guys in high school, Jaden Ford would be one of my #1 fantasy football picks. He gets the ball in the backfield, is a very hard runner, can also make some plays in the passing game. That ball's a little too low for him to make a play, but it won't be his only target tonight, so I'm not too worried.
So we got under a minute to go here in quarter number 1, about 47 seconds to be exact, and it'll be a 3rd and 1 coming up. So we got McQueen in. He's going to hand it off to Ford again, and Ford, he's going to bully his way into the first down. But is it enough?
There's a great effort there by Norland, just not giving up an inch.
So he moves the chains for the first down.
They did give up an inch. That's got to go on freezing cold takes right there.
Queen steps back, looking, fires deep. Nearly, but no good. Intercepted, intended once again for Nashawn Montgomery. A good coverage there for the Vikings.
Great coverage. They knew it was coming. They had 2 guys on him, so it's a double coverage situation. Nashawn Montgomery, essentially in that situation, isn't only being guarded by the 2 DBs, he's also being guarded by the sideline. So it's a tough situation there. You're walking a tightrope, and in the end, the ball's a bit overthrown, but Nashawn Montgomery is not going to have too many missed opportunities in a game like this one, or in any game for that matter. So they've got to make sure they keep him tightly covered. They do a good job there. Norland knows they cannot afford to let Nashawn Montgomery run loose.
Yeah, Montgomery nearly went for the one-handed catch there, trying to pull an OBJ or a George Pickens here in quarter number 1. So 2nd and 10 coming up here for the Rockets. On the 49-yard line. Queen looking, and he's brought down.
I'm telling you, that Norland pass rush is going to be a factor tonight. Sean Smith, who I've got listed here, is the leading tackler for Norland. 8 tackles per game. Gets 1 there. It's a big-time play. This is a team that ideally, if they're going to be dominating tonight's game, it's going to come through that pass rush. It's going to come through bringing the pressure. They do a great job on that play, and now it brings about a big-time, long 3rd down situation.
And that'll do it for quarter number 1. Still tied at 7-7 here at Travis Powell Stadium. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Want to go somewhere amazing? Nice, right? But we're not there yet. Not this either. Still not it. Finding the next epic place isn't the point. In a Nissan Pathfinder, search is the adventure.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network here in Miami, Florida, Travis Powell Stadium. Getting ready to begin quarter number 2 between the Vikings and the Rockets here in the GMAC Championship game. Norland Vikings, Miami Central Rockets. Getting ready to begin quarter number 2. Both teams tied at 7-7, but Miami Central trying to march down the field. Got Ben in the booth with me tonight, mentioned it, trying to score. They're going to score on their first 2 drives. Here's drive number 2. Let's see what they do. As McQueen's looking, fires, met with pressure, incomplete, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
McQueen stands in there. He's willing to take the hit, but the DB just does such a great job, Jade Card, of getting downfield and just trying to bat that thing down. Gets a hand on it. and that's going nowhere.
Well, you said they're going to score in their first 2 drives, and unless we get something similar to last night where we're going to get a fake punt trying to get the first, I think your prediction just went up in smoke.
It's all right. It's all right. The audience, I've said this on my own show, you don't punish me for being wrong. You punish me for being boring. So I'm willing to swing. I'm willing to strike out. It is what it is.
I love it. I actually really like that phase. How about that? And of course, I'm referring to the Northwestern and the Columbus game that took place yesterday here in the same field, Travis Powell Stadium. We're going to the first play where Northwestern, they were in their own territory. It was a 4th down. They faked the punt. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. However, they'll take it regardless as they went on to win that game 23-20. They pumped the ball away to around the 20-yard line. And now the Vikings offense will come onto the field, still tied at 7-7. I'll tell you one thing, the defense for the Vikings actually looked pretty solid on that drive.
Well, I'm telling you, this Norland Vikings defense, their pass rush is really underrated. And the only reason I'm not speaking more highly of them is because they're facing a very talented Miami Central team who is also capable of getting many tackles per game. They've got multiple guys averaging over 10 tackles per game. Tackles for loss is sort of the MO of each of these pass rushes. But the Norland Vikings do have a good pass rush, and it's been one of the cornerstones of their best football games. So they're going to get after Miami Central. They're not going to be afraid. They're going to pin their ears back. And if they can build the lead here, you'll see that happen even more dramatically as the game goes on.
And I'll tell you what, I think the Vikings stopping Miami Central on that drive, it actually helps them even more because, like you mentioned, let only 4 days rest, so they don't have to worry about a comeback as much. Now they can set the tone a little bit more, and they can chew the clock more efficiently as opposed to we need to get down the field, we need to score now. So here we go. We're going to go with the run play here. Not much of a gain. Going to bring up 2nd down.
Great job. Like I said, Miami Central in a perfect world, they want to prevent Miami Norland from establishing any sort of run game tonight because that allows them, like we've said multiple times, to drain the clock, to set the tempo. They are already in a position where now Miami Norland is in more of the driver's seat than they've ever been at any point tonight. So you want to stifle that run game and you want to keep them having to throw downfield and hopefully make mistakes.
Yapur looking, fires over to his left, has his man for Terrence Honeywood. Going to bring up 3rd down coming up off the catch.
3rd down, but a nice throw there. His throws always tend to be a little bit lower than I'd like them to be when he's firing to the outside. That's why I think some of his best throws tend to come over the middle. He had an incompletion to the outside earlier in the game. They just want to run the football, and they just want to pick up downs.
And speaking of down, this is a big one here. 3rd down here on this opening play. Here on this drive, they're going to hand it off to Clark. Clark just at the sticks. Is it enough for the first? I believe he is just short. And, yep, they're going to mark it. No, they're going to give him the 1st down. I thought he was about, looked like he was a couple inches short, but maybe just, what are you going to say about that, Ben?
Well, the rain is starting to come down now, so regardless of what it would have been, they're going to start running the rock now more than ever. The elements become a part of this game.
Going to throw it, incomplete.
Great job by Miami Central reading that play. Their DBs are going to get after it. No risk it, no biscuit. Tries to make a play on the ball there. Luckily for Enyo Yapur, it's nothing more than an incompletion because that play could have been disastrous.
2nd and 10 coming up. Going to take out Clark for the time being. He's going to head off to the sideline. They bring in number 27, Omar Jeffries, in the backfield.
Omar Jeffries, the 2nd leading rusher behind only his quarterback, Enyo Yapur, this season.
Jeffries, I'm actually going to go with the quarterback keeper here with, how about that?
They fooled both of us on that play, 100%.
Yeah, they fooled us both here. They fooled us over in the booth with the cameras and everything.
I genuinely thought that was going up the right side, and great fake there. That's just your quarterback, and they coach that. Just sell it a little bit longer. Don't be lazy. Let's make sure that we really sell it. It's a little bit of an act. That is the most acting that you will see in football at that point.
Yapur gains 2 yards on the play. 3rd and 8 coming up. Yapur looking and is immediately swarmed
Enyoyapor right there clearly doesn't necessarily sense the pressure, didn't look like it, and Miami Central just does a great job of getting to the outside, surrounding him, and swallowing him up. I mean, just a great play there by their defensive line, collapsing that offensive line in on him.
Great job.
It's not like quicksand when I was watching, honestly.
You just saw that everyone just gobbled him up immediately, and there was nothing he could have done at that point, and that's going to force the Vikings to punt. Just got away from him. Go for the return, but or number 7, it's Montgomery for Miami Central.
Great job by Nashawn Montgomery, just picking up that ball, getting after it, obviously, after some commotion there on the sidelines, just picks it up, gives them good field position, and they're going to try to march their way back downfield here and get back in the driver's seat of this game.
So both drives, both opening drives for each team resulted in points, and then their last 2 resulted in punts. And with the weather, here's a 15-yard penalty. But I want to talk a little bit about something. With the weather, you know, it was raining a little bit. Now it's not. What are the inconsistencies you think in the conditions with the weather, with the wind and everything? How is that going to affect the game as well? Because if you know it's going to rain consistently, you can kind of game plan around it. But you know, if it's going to rain a little bit, it's not going to rain a little bit. How does that affect?
Each of these teams have a lot of pride. They're ranked 6th and 7th in the state for a reason. They both feel like they have a very good run game. They're each going to look to establish that here. I think the rain just makes that even more apparent.
Clark unable to gain anything. He's going to lose a bunch of yards. A second down is coming up for the Vikings.
Like I said, everybody's trying to establish a run game. Everybody thinks they are the best team here tonight. Should be interesting to see who can get that run game going, because each defense knows they're clearly stacking the box here. They are daring each other to throw, and I think that was Miami Central's gamble, was they were willing to let some stuff go on the back end because they figure that with Enyoyapor not being the most accurate quarterback in the world, he will make mistakes, and they're sort of banking on that every time they blitz him.
Lots of 6 yards on the run. It'll be 2nd and 16 coming up. Yapor looking, still looking. He fires. He got his man, number 16. That is Ronald Towns.
Could not have been a better ball. I mean, just excellent stuff right there. Like I said, just moves off to the right a little bit, is not necessarily escaping the pocket, just keeps it alive with his legs and throws an absolute bullet to his wide open man. And Towns is there to make the catch even though he heard the footsteps. Great stuff.
Gain the penalty yards back and then some. It'll be a 3rd and 6 coming up. Gain of 10 yards on the catch.
Re-snap motion with Towns, who made the catch on the previous play.
Poor looking. He's going to hold it for himself, and he's brought down just short of the sticks. This is going to bring up 4th down.
Enyoyapor is a very good rusher of the football. He averages 93.2 rushing yards per game, which is unheard of for a quarterback. He's probably feeling a bit frustrated right now, but he did have an earlier run in the red zone for a new 1st down to reset the chains. So he'll continue to try and make plays with his legs, and I assume a player of his caliber will be successful eventually.
So it looks like they're going to go for it here on the 4th down. Yapor only gained 1 yard on the rush. 4th and 3 coming up. And they're going to call a timeout, so we'll take it with them, folks. Tied here 7-7 with just a little over 6 minutes to go here in the first half.
Hey, it's Jared. Let me show you how I created my dorm room vibe for less with Amazon. I have tons of different clothes. I have some pajama pants, more pajama pants. People say I have too much. I don't really listen to people. I love to journal. I got my gratitude journal, I got my mantra journal, and I got my 5-minute journal. And oh, I got a package from Amazon. Let's see what we got for today. This is perfect. This is my journal that I journal about journaling. Dear Diary, I wish I had more PJs.
Hey, sweet new gear. Looks like Best Buy hooked you guys up.
Pretty sick, right?
What is that?
That's our traveling trophy. Oh, that's what's up, man.
Ah, a goat for the goats. Fits these pro-level setups.
Last year's trophy.
Not a goat.
Nope.
What if you could get all the latest and greatest gaming gear from one place?
Fourth and 3 coming up. Punted away. Rolls over past the end zone. It'll be a touchback.
Something that I've talked about with Hobbs in the past and with any commentator that I've really shared the booth is just how underrated and great these kickers have become over the years. These kickers and punters, I don't know if it's the Pat McAfee syndrome. I don't know if he's sort of making that position cool, the guys on special teams, but the legs that we have seen on these kickers in South Florida over the last 5 years have just been spectacular. I mean, they really have improved to the point where, like, they are the third phase of the football game right next to those elite wide receivers.
And like you mentioned, Pat McAfee, speaking of, former punter of the Indianapolis Colts, so they also have a great punter now today. Roberto Sanchez was named AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. 5 punts, fantastic performance in the 2017 win over the Tennessee Titans. Sorry, Ice Trey. They're going to go for it here with McQueen. He's going to throw it. It'll be brought over to the sideline. It's going to be second down coming up for Miami Central.
So they're going to force Miami Central now because of that big-time punt to drive the length of the field. So Miami Central is going to have to get multiple first downs here. You're going to have to string together multiple great plays. I'm not saying anything here that the audience doesn't know. I'm curious to see how Miami Central responds to a extended drive.
It was Saku Smith with the catch. Second down coming up, 2nd and 5. Got it back in the field alongside McQueen. See what they do this time. He's going to keep it for himself. He finds room, and he continues to take off as McQueen picks up the first down. And Moore finally brought down to run the 40-yard line.
Tonight, McQueen already has more rushing yards than what he averages per game. He's averaging 29.4 rushing yards per game. He had a big-time run for a first down earlier. He's got another one there for about 20. He's already on top. He's doing a great job tonight of utilizing his legs and not being afraid to extend the play with his legs.
You got 2 quarterbacks that, like you mentioned, not afraid to kick it into high gear and take off, and McQueen did just that, moving the chains into the 40s. We got a timeout, and we'll take it with them, folks. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
November is American Diabetes Month, but we're not here to celebrate it. Join us and move us closer to a cure. Someday, we can celebrate. Until then, we fight.
When I push, I feel good. When I push, I feel good. When I push. You better move. I feel good. When I pull, I feel good. When I push. When I push, I feel good. When I pull, I feel good. When I push. When I push, I feel good. When I pull, I feel good.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Final half of this second quarter. Both teams still tied 7-7. Norland Vikings taking on the Miami Central Rockets. Miami Central, they throw a flag on the field, saying it's on the offense.
Coach Juke clearly trying to keep these guys disciplined. You don't want to be your own worst enemy this early in a game that is so close. And that sends things moving in the wrong direction, obviously.
So loss of yards for Miami Central is going to push them back just a little bit. So it'll be a 1st and 15 coming up for the Rockets. Still got Anthony McQueen in at the quarterback position. Got a back. Queen stepping back, being faced with pressure, and he's just going to throw this away over the middle. Incomplete. 2nd and 15 coming up.
That is a rare miss right there from Anthony McQueen. He's, like I said, he's not going to have too many incompletions in a game like this, and he's not going to throw the ball away too often, but there they bring literally everybody. They stack the box, they bring the pressure on the blitz, and he just has nowhere to go with the football.
So 2nd and 15 coming up. And with the loss of yards and you're now at a 2nd and long, what do you do here if you are Miami Central?
You try to gain some sort of yardage because you don't want to be in a 3rd and 15 situation because then everybody knows that you're gunning for a first down.
So they're going to go for it with the run here. gain a whole lot, a 1, 2, maybe 3 yards at most on the carry. It'll be third down coming up.
Easy to play armchair quarterback, especially for me up here in the booth. I would have liked to have seen some sort of short yardage play there, or like a play action play. I don't know if I would have gone with a run on that play. Something in high percentage throws, some pre-snap motion. Just because the run game for both teams has been stifled to such a certain extent tonight that you know you're not going to get home run yardage, and you're looking for ideally right there a gain of at least 6, and that's not quite enough for me.
Well, they gain a couple of the penalty yards back, but it's still 3rd and 13. So gain 2 yards on the carries. McQueen steps back, faced with pressure, looking, fires, has his man at the 40, at the 45, at the 50, brought down. His man was number 8. That was Nicholas McCall.
Nicholas McCall, the guy who has become the feature back in the air and on the ground for this Miami Central team. Just a great way to recover there from a play that looked like he was doomed from the start, and obviously trips up there towards the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami Central keeps their guys on the field and goes for it here.
And it looks like that's what's going to happen. Don't see the punting unit coming out, so it looks like they're going to go for it here on the 4th down.
Maybe they're also looking for a false start here. We'll see. Hard count coming up.
So here we go. It'll be a 4th and 2. Gain of 10 yards on the throw over to Nicholas McCall. Let's see if they can gain that extra 2 and pick up the first. McQueen looking, fires. He's going for it deep, and he has the man. That is number 7, Montgomery, moving the change and nearly into the red zone. Miami Central first down.
Nashawn Montgomery, I told you, if they throw him the football, they're not going to miss out on that opportunity too often. Finds himself there in a one-on-one situation. The ball is thrown a little bit like a rainbow, feels like it was in the air forever, but once it comes down, Nashawn Montgomery makes the play, has great hands, and is able to pick up the big chunk play that it feels like Miami Central needed right then and there.
They needed 2 yards. They gain way more than that as we got number 3 here brought down. That is Sterling. But a great throw, not only by McQueen, but then a great catch as well from Montgomery as we got second down coming up.
Good adjustment by Montgomery in the previous play because he also had to slow down, right? Switch shoulders, twist his hips mid-play. That's an athlete right there. That is a play from a true athlete of tomorrow.
No gain on the run, so it'll be 2nd and 10 coming up. With just a little over 2 minutes to go here in the first half. So you got McCall in the backfield alongside McQueen. McQueen, he's going to keep it for himself. A big hit for McQueen at around the 24, 23-yard line.
Scary play there for McQueen. I'm glad when he went down, he tried to kind of move his head up because we've seen that go so wrong for other South Florida quarterbacks, right? Head hits the back of the head hits that field. And he's just rocked on that play, but clearly willing to put himself and his body on the line on that previous play, and that's why his teammates rally around him.
We've already seen a lot of big hits today, including the most notable one to Dawson Quarterman, which took him out of the game back in the first quarter on the first drive for the Norland Vikings. So it'll be a 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 9, McQueen looking, steps back, being faced with pressure. He's going to fire it over to his right, has his man number 10, and enough for the first down. Zeku Smith. No, they're saying it's an incomplete pass.
No, that looked like an incomplete. That looked like a completion to me, quite frankly. And that's a weird situation because it looks like they're playing soft coverage. And if you give Anthony McQueen time to sit back there and throw, and I know there was an impending rusher, but it still felt like he had a lot of time. His receiver was able to make an adjustment there.
So they said incomplete. Now they're saying complete. So we're going at it again. I'm not sure what's going on, but either way, it's a first down for Miami Central.
Referees contradicting themselves. What else is new?
Well, like you mentioned, take the referees out of the game as we got a Viking down. It's going to bring out the athletic training staff. So we'll take a quick commercial break. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
I want to see all my friends at once. Friends at once. I want to see all my friends at once. I want to see all my friends at once.
This is it. Our last night sharing a room. Tomorrow we'll be in our new home.
They told you buying a home would take years. but didn't help you start. Still, you kept trying.
You'll have a yard to play in, a place to dream.
Hope makes it happen. With tailored mortgage solutions, Hope Credit Union makes homeownership happen for thousands of people, regardless of income or credit. Brighter futures begin with hope.
Something amazing is happening here. Inventory is practically moving itself, quickly and securely. Classrooms are getting more immersive. Data is powering insights and imagination. CDW partners with you to get the most from your technology. We work with you to plan it, build it at scale, and manage it, so you can do amazing things. Make amazing happen. CDW.
Welcome back, folks. HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network here at Travis Powell Stadium. We're tied at 7-7 with just over 1 minute to go here in the first half here in the GMAC Championship game. We mentioned between the Norland Vikings and the Miami Central Rockets. But the Rockets in the red zone, possibly just a few plays away from putting some points on the board. As McQueen, he has a deep shot and incomplete. Looked like it was intended to number 6, Audrey Coleman, but unable to connect. It'll bring up third down.
A beautiful ball by McQueen, but really the guy who deserves the credit on that play is Norland's Javon Allison, number 21, standing at 5'11", 165. He sort of cuts off the receiver's lane to be able to get to that football and sort of runs him out of bounds. He almost acts as like a traffic cone, just making sure he can't get towards the ball. That was a great play there by the DB, making sure the wide receiver can't get to the ball.
So 3rd and 9 coming up for Miami Central, tied at 7-7. They scored their touchdown on their opening drive. This is their 3rd drive. Drive number 2 resulted in a punt. McQueen looking, fires, has a man, over to the 10, to the 5, all the way to the end zone. Jaden Ford punches it in for 6.
Jaden Ford stops on a dime. He's one of my favorite players on the football field for Miami Central. I've said that all year long. He is one of the best backs, I think, in this state, and just such a great play by him. Like I said, stops on a dime, can stop on any blade of grass, and is able to cut up, waits for his blockers. That's a team effort right there. McQueen under pressure, finds his check down. Just great team football, being able to play in those situations, preparing for those situations. I think that's what you saw right there.
Jaden Ford, junior for Miami Central, 5'7", 170, punches it in for the touchdown. As they'll go for the extra point here, Miami Central.
There's certain guys that play well beyond their size. I would have never assumed that Jaden Ford, unless I look at the box score at a roster, that he was 5'7", but does look like one of the bigger bodies on the field, runs with intensity, and just a great play on that previous.
So Anjuan Coleman with the hold, and then you got Luca Guetta. No good. So it'll be 13-7.
Wow. Those are the little points. The little points that you find yourself realizing, oh, those matter in a close game in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So
13-7, the Rockets able to punch their way into the end zone courtesy of Jaden Ford. And with just a little over 30 seconds to go here in the first half, you can see them talking over to Nashawn Montgomery over on the sidelines. 36 seconds to go here in the first half. Now, we did see the Explorers, the Columbus Explorers yesterday. They actually took a knee on their first drive just a few seconds ago. I'm not sure exactly we're going to see that here with Norland because they had about 20 or 15 seconds yesterday. Here they got 36. We'll see what the time is when the offense gets on the field, but are they just going to let this run out into the second half, or do you think that they're going to try to make something happen here, at least 1 or 2 plays?
This is Florida football. I assume that teams with this kind of perimeter talent take at least one shot, but I also see a world in which they kneel it down. Like it's kind of 50-50. I'm not super passionate about either side of that, to be honest.
So Guetta will kick it away, and then it'll send the ball over to the Vikings, who are currently down by 6. 13-7 after the Rockets touchdown. Kicks it away. And this will go over to the side. You know, the wind was so bad yesterday that there was an instance where they couldn't even, we got flags down again. I'm not sure what all these flags are on these kickoffs and punts.
Well, this is a bigger football game. It is the GMAC championship, and I always tend to believe that in larger games, more high profile. There's a lot of you watching at home, of course, on TV, on YouTube, on the HBCU Plus app, and of course the fans in attendance. This is a high profile game, and officials tend to, I think before, I've seen this happen before when I was in high school and I was on the field. Hey, let's make it a point to sort of make an example here tonight. Let's call things that need to be called. They're not going to let things go in a game like this. And that's the kind of situation that I think we find ourselves in. So there will be a little bit more of a microscope on special teams plays, I think.
So like I was mentioning earlier before the flag, how the wind yesterday was so bad that there was an instance where they couldn't hold the ball to kick it for 2 instances, and it actually took a little bit longer to finally send the ball the other way. Still windy here today, but not as bad as it was yesterday.
I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but this is the windiest game that I've experienced here this season. That's just the reality. So it plays a part in the game. Coaches understand that the elements are going to become a factor, and by the same token, each team feels like they're very confident in each of their own run games, so they're going to try to run the rock here, and they have plenty of faith in their offensive lines. And each team also has plenty of faith in their pass rush and their defensive lines to try and...
Oh, and the ball, actually, they couldn't hold on to it. We were just mentioning it.
Great call there. Great call there.
The ref immediately threw the flag as the ball did not stay upright and fell over. We were just talking about that a few moments ago. I know Director Troy Mitchell in the building. He knew what I was talking about when I was mentioning yesterday. Signs of deja vu, perhaps, as we mentioned it earlier, a very windy few days here in Miami, Florida. I was just about to mention, as they try to get the ball fixed again, you can see they're going to have to hold it. They're going to have a holder for this kickoff. Demetrius Ingram is going to be the temporary holder for the time being. But I was about to say, you say this is the windiest game you've ever experienced. That's because you weren't here yesterday, but I think today might match it.
Clearly the holder makes a difference on that play. He rifles that one back.
Absolutely, and they're going to look to return it here. This is number 6 for the Vikings, and that is Terrence Honeywood. They finally bring him down. Looks like at around the 25-yard line. So it'll be just over 20 seconds to go here in this first half.
With Dawson Quarterman out of the action, Terrence Honeywood is the receiver who usually sees the ball more than anyone else. He's averaging 64.5 yards per game in the air, only behind his teammate Dawson Quarterman, who has 67.2 per game on the year. And obviously with Quarterman out due to a big hit currently that we saw in their first offensive drive, Honeywood is going to be a massive factor in this game. I'm surprised we haven't said his name quite yet.
So it doesn't look like they're going to go into a kneeling motion, so they're going to try to at least get one play out of this drive, possibly more. Let's see what happens. 13-7, the Vikings are down by 6. Poor looking, being met with pressure, evading, still evades, and he's finally brought down.
Didn't love that by Yapur. I think he's such a big athlete, such a talented guy. You've got to get that ball out eventually. I understand you're trying to extend the play with your legs, and clearly he makes guys look silly before they eventually do bring him down. But I would love to see him give his talented receivers an opportunity, whether that's Honeywood or whether that's Towns. Just get the ball downfield to them.
Yapur being brought down brings the first half to a close. Rockets will enter the second half with a 13-7 lead here in the GMAC Championship game. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Want to go somewhere amazing? Nice, right? But we're not there yet. Not this either. Still not it. Finding the next epic place isn't the point. In a Nissan Pathfinder, search is the adventure.
Black culture feeds fashion, but fashion doesn't always feed us. So McDonald's is pairing 5 rising Black designers with 5 fashion insiders. Together, we can change the face of fashion.
The walking tree is said to change its entire location in pursuit of sunlight. Where could reinvention take your business? Accenture. Let there be change.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on a new vehicle.
And welcome back into the broadcast. We are halftime when it comes to action, but we are not missing out on any action, make no mistake, as the bands here come out dressed in pink. Of course, today is a pink out in honor of breast cancer awareness. Norland's band and dancers make their way out to the field first. They currently trail in this ball game by 6. Current score at the half is 7-13.
half number 2 in the GMAC Championship game. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on a new vehicle.
The walking tree is said to change its entire location in pursuit of sunlight. Where could reinvention take your business? Accenture, let there be change.
Black culture feeds fashion, but fashion doesn't always feed us. So McDonald's is pairing 5 rising Black designers with 5 fashion insiders. Together, we can change the face of fashion.
Second half action is underway here at Travis Powell Stadium. The Vikings receive the ball. Welcome to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Rockets on top 13-7 over the Vikings. I'm Amari DePaul. Joining me alongside here in the broadcast booth is Ben Cure. Ben, let's talk a little bit about that first half.
Loved what I saw from Miami Central. I think they had a more balanced attack. I think ultimately that's what this comes down to. I think Enyo Yapor, who is Norland's quarterback, He does such a great job on his legs, averages nearly 100 rushing yards per game. Might be a little bit frustrated because he had one big run for 10 yards in the red zone to convert a third down into a first. But after that, the run game has sort of stifled for them. I think they would like to establish the run game and drain the clock here so they don't have to play a long football game.
So Yapur goes for the quarterback keeper, gains about 3 yards on the run. It'll be second down coming up. So what can we expect from both teams? I know you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. You were talking about how 13 days rest versus 4 days rest. That's probably going to come into play, especially in the second half here for the Vikings.
I think there's a really dramatic difference. You're seeing a Norland team, like you said, 4 days of rest. It's the other extreme for Miami Central, nearly 13, almost 14 days of rest. I assume that Miami Central, with the longer prep time, it's going to translate to a more detailed and sophisticated game plan. And Miami Central's also been great all year long with second half adjustments.
Yapur looking, fires, has his man. That is number 16, Ronald Towns. So Towns with the catch and moves to change for the first down.
So Dawson Quarterman is usually a wide receiver one, but he's out due to an injury that he sustained in the first half. Terrence Honeywood is that next option who averages about 70 receiving yards per game. But since they're really doing a good job of containing him and sometimes doubling him, it's going to be up to Ronald Towns, their wide receiver 3, to make some plays. He does it right there. They're going to look to hit him early and often throughout the start of this second half.
So the Vikings move the chains for their first down of the second half. Hand it off. Now they're going to go with the quarterback sneak. It is again Yapur. And great job of Miami Central's defense to read that. It'll be second down coming up.
Daniel Yapur is 6 feet tall, 225. He is one of the bigger guys on this field, and even as a quarterback, he's not afraid to lower his shoulder, and he's not afraid of contact. So, like I said, he's going to look to establish the run game on his own. He's a Josh Allen type in that sense. He plays his best football on the ground, and I think ideally they would like to get something going here relatively soon.
Loss of 2 yards on the play. It'll be second and 12 coming up. You got to imagine that Miami Central's defense is really going to stuff the box and force Yapur to use his arm. Nope. Going to run it here. That is number 4 for the Vikings. Zedquan Wright. Good gain on the run. It'll be third down coming up.
I love how they're incorporating different guys during this ball game tonight. That was Jamari Smith, whose name we have not called tonight, but he's been a contributor to this team all season long.
So third and short coming up here for the Vikings. Bring someone new. Got Nathaniel Rosario coming in for the Vikings in the backfield. Third down. Hand it off. We're going to move the chains for the first down as they have entered Miami Central territory. First down for the Vikings.
Like I said multiple times throughout this broadcast, and I don't mean to be a broken record, Norland understands that their best football is going to be played on the ground. Several weeks ago, they rushed the ball 37 times for 271 yards with multiple different backs. It showcased not only their talent, but their depth. That's why they're going to get different guys involved here. Now you see number 22, Nathaniel Rosario, coming in. We saw Clark earlier. They're going to look to make sure they can get things going on the ground because it'll eat away at the clock and it'll get them out of here quicker.
And you mentioned chewing the clock. They've already chewed almost 4 minutes off of the clock, and we got an incomplete pass intended. Number 19, Jaden Page, is going to bring up second and 10 coming up. And already chewed up over 3 minutes on the clock on this drive alone. So it'll be second and 10 here for the Vikings as they've entered Rockets territory. Down by 6, trying to get into this game. They're going to hand it off. They're going to go with the run and brought down, and they lose the ball. Nearly lost the ball, and it looks like the Vikings were able to recover. It'll be third down.
This Central team is no stranger to picking up turnovers. They have multiple this season. Karon Maycock, their inside linebacker, has 2 fumble recoveries this season, and obviously that feels like a huge missed opportunity for them right there. You win the turnover battle, most likely you win the game.
Third down coming up. Yapur is going to throw it. It bounces off the hands of Terrence Honeywood. That's going to bring up 4th down.
That's one of those where you say Terrence Honeywood must have heard the footsteps. I mean, the ball's right there for him. One of the cleaner footballs that Yapur has thrown tonight to the outside. I feel like sometimes he struggles with those throws. That time he delivers it on time and in a great spot, but his wide receiver is just not able to make the play.
And like you mentioned, Yapur, his accuracy is in the 50s. So when he's able to connect with his receivers, it's also up to the receivers as well to make it work for themselves. So just a bad situation overall on that play for the Norland Vikings. It looks like they're keeping the offense out on the field, and they're going to go for it here on this 4th down.
Potentially a hard count situation. I guess not.
So Yapur looking, fires, has his man brought down. And the pass is complete over to number 19, Jaden Page. And it pays off as they move the chains for the 1st down.
Great throw by Yapur. Really puts his back foot into it, gets all the momentum he needs. A great windup, fires a strike, and it's perfect for his wide receiver for a 1st down. One of the best throws he's made all night long.
A 4th and 9 nonetheless, and able to convert it for a fresh set of downs. Nice work from Yapur. You're going to hand it off to 4 and brought down. Zaquan Wright with the carry, and the loss of yards is going to bring up 2nd down.
They're really trying to utilize Wright here in the second half early. It's obvious, but he just hasn't had the kind of efficiency that you would hope for with the first couple carries. Hopefully he gets things going. Otherwise, I think with such a talented backfield, so much depth to it, Norland's not going to be afraid to substitute him out if necessary.
And this is still the first drive of the second half, and we're nearly halfway done here with quarter number 3. 6:42 to go and counting. Yapur looking, and with pressure, continue to look. He's going to keep it for himself this time. He's going to slide to the 30-yard line.
That's one of those plays where Yapur is arguably his most dangerous, when he extends the plays with his legs just enough to throw it above and beyond. And in the end there, he's caught up by the turf monster, as Mr. Wilcox within Traz Powell Stadium says, and that's essentially what it comes down to right there.
They'll mark it at the 32-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down coming up for the Norland Vikings. Going to bring in Maurice Clark in the backfield. Yapur looking, fires, dropped, incomplete.
Maurice Clark has had the most success of any of the backs tonight for Norland. There he's on that option play. It's the check down. Yapur doesn't see anything downfield, is sort of overwhelmed by the impending pressure. And that time, Clark is just not able to reel it in. And with that, we'll send you over to a quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network here at Traz Powell Stadium for the GMAC Championship game between the Norland Vikings and the Miami Central Rockets. Alongside Ben Cure, I'm Armani DePaul, bringing you today's coverage here in the 3rd quarter. 5:55 to go. 4th down here for the Vikings. And they went for it on the 4th and 9. Looks like they're going to go for it on the 4th and 11 as Yapur looking. Has time, fires over, and just tipped off, incomplete, turnover on downs.
That has sort of felt like the bane of Yapur's existence. He's great on his legs, he's great over the middle, but sometimes he puts that ball a little bit too low. Right there, rifles the ball out. So much speed behind that. Thought I was going to get to the intended receiver, but Miami Central does a great job. Their DBs are very aware, and obviously they're able to break it up there and almost make a play on the ball. In the end, I really loved how Norland came out and they were driving the length of the field here on their opening kickoff to open up the second half, because we hadn't seen that kind of rhythm from them since their opening drive where they scored. They had sort of stalled out several times. In the end, looks like they do it one more time, but I would love to see them get a little bit more in rhythm and finish these drives as you approach the red zone.
A long drive for the Vikings, ending a goose egg of points as over halfway through this quarter, and finally Miami Central gets onto the field as we got the first pass for Miami Central. It's going to bring up second down. Completed to number 7.
I think this is where Anthony McQueen and Miami Central and Coach Jube are simply going to look to establish their dominance here. They're going to look to move the chains incrementally, play methodical football, and they've already got a lead. If they can build upon that, that's when you start trying to eat the clock and you get out of here.
Here comes second down. They're going to run it this time and immediately brought down in the backfield.
Norland does a great job. That pass rush, that defensive line in general, they collapse the offensive line, they make the right read, and they don't want to, like I just said moments ago, they don't want to allow this Miami Central team that already has a lead, even though it's only one possession, to extend the possession or extend play or extend drives here and waste more time off the clock, especially when you're down.
3rd and 11 coming up. Jaden Ford immediately stepped in the backfield. Of course, you all know he got the touchdown to put the Rockets on top 13-7 over the Vikings back in the first half.
Look at Jaden Ford lined up out to the left.
Queen looking, fires over the middle, incomplete.
Great coverage there. Number 26 for Miami, Norland. Jaheim Hines throws the seatbelt on him after the fact. Just a great play there, making sure to make it uncomfortable for the wide receiver right in his grill, breaks up the pass.
So 4th down coming up as the punting unit is going to come out onto the field. It'll be the first punt of the 3rd quarter. And, I mean, it's like a tale of two different teams. Miami Central, really fast offense, worked their way down the field, not waste any time. But then you got the Vikings who, even when they're down, they're just worried about chewing the clock and just pounding the rock. Such different philosophies with these two teams.
Well, it makes sense. You have to evaluate who your personnel is. Miami Central, very talented team, a lot of speed, a lot of agility, a lot of playmaking ability, but they're smaller, significantly smaller when you watch them from up here compared to Miami Norland. Norland has a bigger team, bigger offensive line, bigger defensive line, bigger quarterback. So, of course, the game in the trenches and running the rock is going to favor them more. So I think that's what you've seen play out tonight. With that, we're going to send you off to a quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side.
Welcome back, everyone, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network here at Travis Powell Stadium for the GMAC Championship game between the Norland Vikings and the Miami Central Rockets. Rockets on top 13-7 here. 4th and 11 for Miami Central. They got a turnover on downs. Unable to muster anything on the offensive side. And they're going to punt this one away. So sends it right back to the Vikings, and the ball is going to stop at around 30, about the 45-yard line.
Yeah, that one bobbled for a bit, took a favorable bounce for Norland, obviously, as they like to get this one back. And I think you saw it right there on that punt. Look at the offensive line and look at the defensive line. I understand it's a special teams unit, but, like, man, there is a massive difference. Norland is significantly bigger than this Miami Central team, and that's what this game will ultimately come down to. I think the only thing here that I would worry about in terms of Norland is they're coming off 4 days of rest, so the fatigue in the second half, that's going to be a factor, I think. But otherwise, they're the bigger, more physical football team here if they're each at 100%.
So here comes their second drive of the quarter. Of course, that first drive took over half of the time off the clock as incomplete pass over to number 5, Herlin Perry. I believe it's the first time we're hearing his name tonight.
It is.
So second down coming up, 2nd and 10. Another thing, too, you mentioned about the fatigue, with the rest as well. Another thing also is that, you mentioned the speed. To have that speed, which takes a lot of force, more rest on top of that, that's an even bigger advantage, I think, in my opinion. So 2nd and 10. Gonna throw it over to 4. Doesn't gain much off of that one. It's gonna bring up 3rd down.
Great move by Saquon Wright on that play, and obviously nice little stutter step there. Tries to beat his man to the outside. Ultimately, Central's DBs are all over that, but I think it was a really good play, a high percentage throw. Try to build your Your's confidence here and build some rhythm on this drive, because what they've struggled with is finishing drives, not necessarily starting them. So you want to give them some good momentum, feel like you're completing these throws instead of throwing it to the outside and then having incompletion, stop the clock, and then you're trying to do more with less on a 3rd and long situation.
So gain of 1 yard, it'll be 3rd and 9 coming up. Yapur looking. Fires over the middle. Has one. No, intercepted. Intercepted by Miami Central. We got a flag. We got a flag for the time being. It was intercepted by Miami Central.
And what a play by Dewey Davis. I told you the underrated aspect of this game was going to come down to their DBs. He has 2 interceptions already this season. That would have been his 3rd. He would have led the pack when it comes to his team in terms of interceptions this season. Right now, there's 3 guys tied for Central's leading interception room in Kareem Forbes, Dewey Davis, and Zion Perrette, and obviously all guys who have made great plays, who make each other better week in and week out in practice. Would have loved to have seen Dewey Davis get his 3rd INT right there, but offsetting penalties take away another highlight play from us.
So Norland turns over the ball.
I'll be honest, I don't love when they throw the flag after the play is already made, and that's what that felt like right there.
Miami Central able to gain the ball back. Of course, you got McQueen there in at quarterback. Looking. Firing deep. Has one. There's a flag immediately thrown. Flags are down and around in between the 40 and the 35-yard line.
And that's a rare drop from a Miami Central wide receiver room that has been so talented and just so on their P's and Q's this season. They've got 2 guys averaging over 70 yards per game in Nashawn Montgomery and Sekou Smith, and Antoine Coleman Jr. has obviously been an absolute weapon for them, averaging 41 yards per game. That's one of those rare downfield plays. Like I said, Miami Central is really efficient. They're big on yards after the catch. You're never going to see Anthony McQueen throw the ball downfield too many times in a ball game. I wouldn't be shocked if you look at a box score and you see he's only thrown 12 passes over the course of a game, but he's efficient. He usually has a high completion percentage, averaging 68 completion percentage this season, which has been a big part of their success. Efficient in the air right there. It's just a rare miss downfield.
So 1st and 10 once again. And let's see what they got. Now they're moving the ball further down the field. On the 45-yard line. So this will benefit Miami Central. They gain a couple yards.
Keep an eye on Nashawn Montgomery, who right now is lined up on the left side of your screen. Bottom left there. Or on the left side of the field, excuse me.
So it looks like we're going to finally get this play underway. Running back to the left side, now over to the right side. To McCall. And it looks like it's a whistle blown. I don't see any flags on the field.
This is where...
Oh, there is a flag on the field.
I don't love it when the referees get trigger happy like this in the second half. This is where we want to see the boys play. Let them run their routes. Let the plays play out. I don't want to see these ticky-tack flags.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, in a big game like this with the GMAC Championship, you know, the refs are going to you mentioned how they're going to put everyone under a microscope, and I think that's what we're seeing here right now.
Absolutely. It really is a point of contention. They know there's plenty of viewers in the stadium and on TV, so they try to make it a point to enforce the rules.
McQueen with the quarterback keeper. Gains the penalty yards back. As he clearly fooled that front seven. They went right at the running back, and McQueen before meeting up with the secondary, had plenty of room.
McQueen has had a nice night on the ground himself. He got about just over 30 rushing yards in the first half, which is matching his average per game. He averages about 29.5 rushing yards per game, so he already matched it in the first half. I assume he'll have some more success, but right there, just runs to the outside, but gives us a nice highlight, shaking some of those guys initially when the play started.
Second down coming up for Miami Central. Be 2nd and 10. Queen looking, man with pressure, immediately fires, has a target, gains about 1 to 2 yards as McQueen was faced with a lot of pressure on that play. It'll bring up 3rd down.
What you're starting to see now is Norland lean on their excellent pass rush, which has been great over the course of the season. They understand the game situation here. Central has the lead. They're going to look to try and eat up the clock. They're going to look to try and score once more. They want to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback and bring the pressure, and they're doing that successfully so far. And McQueen is good enough that he can get the ball into the hands of his talent, but the tackling from the DBs and from those linebackers in the middle unit there have been so on point that they really haven't been able to get too big of a gain on any of those previous plays.
Less than a minute and a half to go here in quarter number 3. Still 13-7 as a timeout is called, so we'll take it with them. Folks, you're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
This is it. Our last night sharing a room. Tomorrow, we'll be in our new home.
They told you buying a home would take years, but didn't help you start. Still, you kept trying.
You'll have a yard to play in, a place to dream.
Hope makes it happen. With tailored mortgage solutions, Hope Credit Union makes homeownership happen for thousands of people, regardless of income or credit. Brighter futures begin with hope.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Rockets on top 13-7 over the Vikings here in the GMAC Championship game here in Miami, Florida. Trans Powell Stadium. Had a game yesterday between the Northwestern Bulls and the Columbus Explorers. The Bulls came out on top with a 23-20 victory. Back-to-back nights of action here on HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Third down coming up, 3rd and 8. Queen steps back, looking, fires, has his man. That is McCall once again, and McCall bulldozes his way through the secondary.
Physical run by McCall, just great contact there, not running away from it, picks up the extra yard. It looks like it's going to be enough to move the chains, and that makes it all worth it. When you've got guys that are willing to put their head down and take the contact, that makes the world of difference. And McCall isn't the biggest running back in the world, but clearly not afraid of contact, not afraid to make the play, and it's a great check down option from Anthony McQueen, who felt the pressure and didn't have enough time to throw the ball downfield.
McCall moved the chains for the first down as Miami Central has entered themselves into Norland territory as the clock continues to wind down. They give it to number 1, Ford. Brought off to the sideline. Gains maybe 1 yard on that play. It'll be 2nd down coming up.
Jaden Ford trying to race his man to the outside, just not quick enough to pick up as much yardage as maybe Maurice Clark would have earlier in the game, obviously. Norland did a great job of hitting the outside. Miami Central's trying to replicate that. We're going to send it over to a quick commercial break. We'll be back soon.
Welcome back, everyone, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Getting ready to begin quarter number 4 of the GMAC Championship between the Norland Vikings and the Miami Central Rockets. Here, there's a lot of Northwestern fans over in the YouTube chat. Of course, pretty sure most of you were watching yesterday when the Bulls took down the Explorers in a 23-20 win. I know I already mentioned a couple times about the fake punt, but you guys will take an unsuccessful fake punt any day if you come away with the victory.
Absolutely. I mean, special teams is the third phase of the game, and I think rightfully so. Great play yesterday being made here at Traz Powell. No stranger to the big moments, of course, and we've got another great game here. Not necessarily high scoring, but definitely some hard-nosed football being played. A lot of strategy in this one.
So 1 quarter left to go after a scoreless quarter number 3. Let's see if that changes here as we have entered the final quarter of tonight's championship game. 13-7. I mean, Vikings have been in it. They've kept Miami Central honest, but the thing is, as we already have a flag thrown before the ball's even snapped. So, see what the penalty is about. It looks like it's on the offense. It's going to move them back, but like I was saying, time is running out for the Vikings. They're only down by 6, but just as they've kept Miami Central honest, so is Miami Central vice versa.
I mean, it's only a difference of 6, but right now there's over-under here is 20. So that's all they've scored all game, right? And it feels like as time runs out here, and as they've struggled to finish off drives in the red zone, that makes a difference.
So they're going to toss over to Ford, and Ford gains the penalty yards back, and it looks like they actually might have dropped the ball. This might be a turnover for the Vikings. We'll wait on the official word. You can see the bottom of that pile, both teams wrestling for possession of the ball. Right now the Vikings have it in their hand, but wait on official word, and it looks like it's a turnover on downs. Yeah. Norland recovers the ball. Talking about how time is running out for the Norland Vikings to tie things up, and that is huge.
Well, you need that. That's the first turnover we've seen tonight. We thought Dewey Davis had a pick for Miami Central earlier. That was ruled null and void due to offsetting penalties. That's the first turnover of the game. If you win the turnover battle, that puts you in favorable position, and there's no time like the present for this Norland Vikings team, who has struggled, like I said, to finish drives and is really trying to establish that run game, which is the strongest element of their football team.
And you mentioned it earlier how trying to get Zequan Wright involved here in the second half. He's going to start quarter number 4 as the leading back for Norland Vikings. You got Wright in the backfield. Of course, you got Anino Yapor still in that quarterback. Yapor, he's going to hand it off to Wright. And Wright, decent little gain there for number 4. It'll be second down coming up.
Wright makes a nice move, and I think that's the best, shiftiest run he's shown us so far tonight. Some quiet gains from him. And they're going to need more, obviously, but a step in the right direction here. Second down.
Second down coming up as rain continues to downpour here on Traz Powell Stadium. Got everyone in the stands with the umbrellas out. Then you even got the cheerleaders running around. They're going to go here with the play. This is number 6, Terrence Honeywood. Honeywood gets pushed off to the side.
Terrence Honeywood with the home run speed to the outside. I feel like that's been their best football so far tonight, is when they can kick it to the outside with their very fast skill positions. Maurice Clark was cutting them up in the first quarter. He was really doing a good job of running it up the left side, running it up the right side, getting open in space and making guys miss. And that's a great run from Terrence Honeywood, but it looks like these guys are moving backwards, so I don't know if there's a penalty. I don't know if we're moving the spot back. What's going on here?
I believe there was a flag thrown, and because they got pushed all the way back, maybe a holding penalty, because that's a loss of about 10 yards.
And that's huge. Field position becomes a massive part of this ball game as the clock ticks here. 10:49 to go in the fourth. Still anybody's ball game, I would say.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already seen the turnover. Let's see what the Vikings can do with it as Yapor fires, has a man brought down, throws it over once again to Wright. It's going to bring up third down.
Great job by Central bringing the pressure there, waiting on the screen, and then having the bodies and the play recognition to just make the play there, make the tackle, and avoid a huge gain.
Take a look at Miami Central's Herlin Perry, the defensive back junior, 6'1", 180. So it'll be 3rd and long coming up for Norland Vikings, trying to take advantage off of the turnover. So far it has been unsuccessful. After the penalty, step them back. Yapur, he steps back himself. Looking, being met with pressure. He's going to fire over. That's over to number 19. What a catch, Jaden Page.
Jaden Page has sort of emerged tonight in the absence of Dawson Quarterman earlier, and because Terrence Honeywood has been guarded so tightly all night long and doubled at times, Ronald Towns and Jaden Page have now sort of become the feature guys in the wide receiver room, and he makes a big play there to convert what could have been a really sloppy set of downs and a sloppy drive after losing yards because of the penalty. Great job there by Yapur, putting the ball downfield. He is seriously showing off his arm strength and his accuracy here in the second half in a way that he simply didn't show us in the first. Very proud of how he's improved.
Huge catch for Jaden Page. They're going to go with the quarterback keeper this time. Yapur. Actually, he might have fumbled the ball himself, and it looks like it's going to go to Miami Central. So the Rockets pull out the reverse card. Second turnover. This one goes to Miami Central.
And that's the way to bring out the equalizing punch right there. Miami Central maintains control. Feels like right now, if that stands, they're back in the driver's seat of this game. You've got the lead. You've got about 9:29 left on the clock. Let's run the ball here. Let's incorporate McCall. Let him run to the outside, but stay in balance that we can keep the clock rolling. Also incorporate Jaden Ford. Let's get some high percentage throws over the middle so we can keep the clock going. Don't try to shoot for the outsides. You don't need to right now. You have great perimeter talent, but it's not necessary. Let's just keep this clock rolling.
Second turnover, both taking place in the fourth quarter. So what a way to end this game off. No doubt. Here comes Miami Central's offense onto the field, like you mentioned. Probably going to incorporate the run a lot to chew the clock out. 9:21 to go here. Throw it. Off to the side.
High percentage throws. You're trying to get those completions, but you don't want them to go out of bounds there because that stops the clock, and that's a massive miss. I mean, situational awareness here is important, right? Those are the kind of things that you coach, and I think at that point, he just doesn't realize the magnitude of the moment.
Throws to Anjuan Coleman, the senior wide receiver, 5'10", listed at 5'10", 180. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go for the run. They went for the pass there. Especially off to the side that close. The defense read it well, and that was designed. You knew that was going to go off over to the sideline, out of bounds. McQueen looking, fires over the middle, has his man, and he's taking off. That is number 3. Khalil Sterling still takes off, breaking through. First down and more, a huge gain as Miami Central enters the red zone.
At what point this season, Khalil Sterling was one of the top 3 receiving yard leaders for his football team. There he makes a massive play across the middle and uses that home run speed to get that great yards after the catch. It's not enough to score a touchdown, but it puts them in scoring position, and it's a great way to keep this drive going.
First down after a huge gain. Yards after the catch for Khalil Sterling. Around the 20-yard line for Miami Central, trying to extend their lead over the Vikings. 9:04 to go here in the game. Up by 6. They'd like to double that here with the trip to the end zone. Oh, and a bad snap. Who's going to get to the ball first? I believe it's the Vikings. Do we have our third turnover of the quarter?
A turnover on 3 straight drives. These teams are playing hot potato right now, and Miami Central, everybody just felt their gut drop when that happened. I mean, just the miscue there, exactly what you don't want to see in that moment if you're Miami Central. And based on what we're seeing right now, feels like, is Norland going to get that one back? There seems to be a debate on the sideline here between the officials. Obviously, a lot of tension in a moment like that, rightfully so. Emotions running high.
Miami Central escapes. They're going to lose about 4 yards, but they'll take that. At least they still got the ball in their hand. So we got a timeout on the field with 8:58 to go in the game. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Here in quarter number 4, Miami Central escapes by not having the ball turned over. They keep the ball. Queen looking, fires, incomplete, nearly intercepted, broken up. And again, Miami Central escapes with another one.
I'm a little surprised. I've always credited Anthony McQueen over the course of the season on being a really efficient quarterback. High completion percentage, averaging 68% completion over the course of the season. But he's made some throws tonight that have not just been bad, but have been dangerous, especially on that previous play. Throws it into just a swarm of guys who could have made a play on the ball. Don't love that throw. He's got to reel it in a little bit here, because you can't necessarily win the game right now, but you can lose it, right? We're closing in on territory here where guys are trying to make plays. Vikings are going to be super aware. They're looking out for that ball. They're looking to make the play. They're looking to be the hero tonight in the GMAC championship. Let's be a little bit more aware, and let's take care of the football right now.
So 3rd and 13 is McQueen. He steps back, looking, met with pressure. He's going to keep it for himself for the time being. Now he fires. He has his man, and he takes off to the 10, to the 5. It is once again Jaden Ford. They're saying he stepped out just before he got into the end zone.
No, he didn't. I want to see the replay on that. I don't believe that for a second. Jaden Ford, that looks like his second touchdown to me. Stepped out of bounds where?
They're going to mark him.
So I have my tablet in front of me with a little bit of a delay here. I'm watching this play once more. Gets the ball in space, uses that home run speed. He did not step out of bounds.
They're going to mark him at the 3-yard line. And now they're going to move it up 1 yard to the 2.
I think they can still punch it in here, but I don't believe that for a second. Fresh set of downs, 1st and goal.
So they're going to go with the quarterback keeper, just try to push him in himself. Is that enough? Waiting on official word. No, they're saying
there's been too much hesitancy from the officials tonight. Like, they're all looking at each other for somebody to make the play here or make the call. You have to be aware. There's a reason there's more than one referee. If one guy misses the call, you're looking out for the next guy. But if all of you miss it, then what are you doing? I don't mean to be Mr. Bang on the refs here, but they've had self-awareness problems all night long.
2nd down, literally just inches away from the end zone, and this one should do the trick.
McQueen
Touchdown.
Goes in, and that's a tud. Like you said, just a great play there. I figured they could punch it in. They were right there. This is a team that's motivated. They've obviously made some big plays on this drive, and that right there feels like it is the cherry on top of what's been a really productive night for the Rockets, if nothing else. And the Vikings, obviously, coming off 4 days rest, I think I admire how much they've played and with so much heart. The fatigue hasn't felt like as much of a factor as much as the loss of Dawson Quarterman in the first quarter. They've really tried to keep up, but they ultimately haven't been able to play the style of football they like to play, which is establishing the run game. They weren't able to do it with Yapor. Central's defensive pass rush and those linebackers really got after him and prevented him from getting those yards on the ground. And I think that's what this game ultimately comes down to.
So they'll go for the extra point. Of course, you got Antoine Coleman as the holder. And kicking it will be Luca Guerra. And we're ready. We got a flag on the field.
The flags, the hesitation. You guys in the chat know what I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, at some point you got to start worrying about, okay, are you guys trying to, make sure that everything's being officiated, or are you trying to put yourself in as possibly a third team in this game?
Exactly. They're trying to be the fourth phase. Offense, defense, special teams, and then officials. And when we're talking about them this much at the end of a ball game, it's just unnecessary.
Unnecessary is the right word. So we'll go for it again. Coleman holding. And Guerra, he kicks it, and it's good. 27.
Luca Guerra, one of the most talented kickers in South Florida. We've had a chance to watch him over the past couple weeks, me and Hobbs, and he just consistently delivers, rifles that one through. And they keep things going here as the Rockets lead 20-7 against the Vikings.
So we'll take a quick commercial break. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus.
So I'm reading the chat here. Look, we can let go of the rest narrative. They're not poorly conditioned. I'm not saying they're poorly conditioned. They're young, right? These are young men, so I'm not saying these are veterans or anything like that, and I'm not saying they're tired, but you can't tell me it's not a factor when they're coming off 4 days of rest and Central's coming off 13. Central's better rested. They found rhythm earlier. They were able to play the style of football that they like to play. They had better play calls. They had better drives put together. That's what this comes down to. So two things can be true.
Well, not only with the rest, but also more time to prepare for Miami Central. You got 13 days as well. That is 9 extra days you have to plan your way around the Norland Vikings, whereas the Vikings, you know, they got literally 4 days. They got to think, okay, we're coming off our last performance. We immediately got to go back to work, and they don't got as much time to prepare to study the film as compared to the Miami Central Rockets.
But I don't know, ball.
It is what it is. I think tonight has proven otherwise, except for your prediction about scoring on the first 2 drives. You got that one wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I guess you could say you should have said 2 out of their first 3 drives. Then you...
Yeah, rightfully so. I thought they would come out here, Miami Central, and they would score on their back-to-back offensive drives because they would just have a cleaner game plan put together. But in the end, that's not how it played out, and Central still finds a way to win this one. I mean, Central, the world kind of knew it, or at least South Florida football community, we did as a whole. They were ranked higher going into this game, 6 compared to 7. Not a huge margin, but they did have the lead, and they played 1 less game. What does that say about the tape that they've shown us this season, the statistics, the box score, their talent, the personnel?
Kapoor looking, fires, has his man. He's got plenty of room to work with. He's brought down around the 40-yard line. That is number 6 for the Vikings, Terrence Honeywood. Losing for the first down. Mark the ball, the 38-yard line, the 37-yard line.
So this is where I think Central's DBs have an opportunity to eat, because you know they want to throw the football right now. They would like to run ideally, but with the clock, they can't do it as much as they would like here if they want to really have a chance at working their way back into this game. They already made a play on the ball earlier, had an INT called back. There's a flag already thrown. Let's see what it's for.
Flag on the field is Yapur. He throws it for his target. That is number 16, Ronald Towns. We'll see what the flag is. Fourth quarter, which has been marred by penalties and turnovers.
It has. I felt like we had a really nice pace coming into this fourth quarter, and the
stalled out
kind of ruined it for each team.
Just stalled out here in quarter number 4. $7:44 to go here. Rockets on top 27 over the Vikings. This will push the Vikings back a little bit. Kapoor wastes no time, fires once again to number 16. That is Towns. Pass complete is going to bring up second down. A team which is so precedent on running the ball down by 13. They can't afford to chew the clock out as much as they would have liked. Right now it is going down 7:24 and counting, but again, they're really going to have to rely on the arm of Kapoor. Kapoor looking, fires once again. Brought down, that is number 6, Terrence Honeywood, who's brought down.
Great tackle there, great ball. Just short of the first down there. Just like I said, These Miami Central DBs are going to eat right now. They're going to look to be greedy. They're going to look to make plays. And even though you don't want to let something get blown over your head in terms of a big play, I think they're going to look to establish their dominance right now.
Not just short of the first down, but also stays in bounds. That's going to continue to chew the clock out. 6:39 to go and counting. Time running out for the Vikings as Yapur, he's going to take it for himself. Not enough for the first down. Fourth down coming up.
If Central can hold them off here, I mean, what a stand that would be. A yard to go. You assume it's 4 down territory for them.
Less than a yard at that point. It's like 4th and inches. We're talking a foot, 2 feet.
So no play occurred, but the officials stopped each other. Now they're bringing out the chain gang here to figure out where to spot the ball. But I saw them like low-key move the down symbol a little bit more forward, and a play hasn't been run.
So if a play hasn't been run, why are they moving it as?
I think they're just looking to spot it accurately. I understand that, but
I mentioned earlier the game had a really good pace going in quarter 4. It has just been, we mentioned before, plagued by penalties, turnovers. I don't want to say this is the way any of us were wishing that this game would come to a close. Still plenty of action to go, 6:15 to go in the game, but I mean, when it's coming down to this.
Absolutely. I mean, plenty of time for both teams. Miami Central, they've got the speed, they've got the talent, they've got the lead. We know that. And I think when you look at Daniel Yapur for the Norland Vikings, he accounted for 5 touchdowns last week. So both very capable offenses, a lot of fun to watch. I don't think we've seen the last points scored tonight, I'll be honest. 6:21 feels like an eternity in South Florida football. With that speed, like I said, with that talent, we're going to see some more action.
27 in favor of Central. Vikings down by 13. Got a 4th down coming up. 4th and inches, feet. Regardless, Vikings, they need this. They want to get back in this game. They're going to have to score on this drive, and they know that as they have to pick up this first down here. Let's see what they do. We've already seen that McQueen, quarterback, he's willing to go for it himself. Will Yapur do the same? And they immediately throw a flag down. Another flag thrown here in this 4th quarter.
Not surprising to me. If anything, if that stands, looks like they got the first, and that's what it comes down to. Like we said earlier in the broadcast, Norland is very obviously, there's no bias here, they are the bigger football team, especially in the trenches. That offensive line is significantly bigger than Central's pass rush. So a situation like a tush push or a QB sneak, that's going to be in their favor 9 times out of 10.
So they picked up the first down, moving the chains as timeout is called with 6:13 to go here in the game. We'll be right back, folks. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network.
Something amazing is happening here. The next era of AI has arrived. CDW data engineers are helping organizations harness the power of AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. The power to run workloads faster means greater performance, giving your team a better shot at success. Make amazing happen. CDW.
We're back, folks, here on HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. 6:13 to go here in the game. 2013 in 27. Favor of the Rockets, 13-point difference. Alongside Ben Cure, I'm Romani DePaul, bringing you today's coverage here at Traz Powell Stadium for the GMAC Championship. The Rockets are 6:13 away from claiming that championship, but don't count out the Vikings just yet, so plenty of time to go as Miami Central immediately stops the run. It's going to bring up 2nd down for a loss of 2 yards.
Good job by Miami Central early on right there. Obviously, you let up the big play on the QB sneak, but you're able to kind of, in crunch time, get up on them and get a nice little loss there.
Saquon right. Also 2 yards on the carry. Clock winds down. Now under 6 minutes to go. Time running out for the Vikings. You got to imagine a lot of clock is still going to be chewed out because they're only at half midfield. Let's see what they do here as Yapur looking. He's going to fire. Nearly picked off by number 9, Zion Parrott. We got another, say it with me, folks, another flag on the field.
I'm not going to say it with you because I'm just so...
You're just tired of it.
I'm so frustrated.
I think we're all frustrated about it.
No disrespect to you, Armani, but
no,
I'm not going to sing along.
You think I want to say it?
You're doing your job.
I don't even want to say it along with myself.
Yeah. That was a weird... Whatever the flag was, I don't really care, but like that was one of those Anyo Yapur uncorking it and just an inaccurate throw, unfortunately. We know he has the power, but like I don't know who he was intending it for. The receiver that was a little more shallow or number 5 who was out a little bit further. There were 2 DBs kind of in the middle there.
Well, it ends in it's going to be a penalty on the defense, and that's going to move Norland well into Miami Central territory. Last time they were here, it was a turnover. Norland resulted in 0 points. See what they do here as Yapur fires over to number 19. Mentioned him a lot today, Jaden Page. Like we mentioned earlier, with Dawson Quarterman out after the big hit back in on their first drive in the first quarter. You have to have other wide receivers step up.
Really appreciate how Jaden Page stepped up today. I don't know if they expected for him to be the go-to guy tonight, but it kind of feels like he's grown into that role as the game has progressed. And obviously you would wish the final score was different for their sake, but he's been a valuable contributor tonight. He's got nothing to be ashamed of.
Yapur looking, being met with pressure, firing it deep, incomplete.
I think his receiver, the intended guy, number 6, Terrence Honeywood, that number 1 option tonight with Dawson Quarterman out, kind of lost track of it midair there because the ball was behind him and he didn't look like he was slowing down. And that's one of those that it's a tough catch, it's over the shoulder, awkward position to be in. And Anyo Yapur got hit on that one.
3rd and 5 coming up for Norland. Time is running out. We mentioned under 5 minutes ago, now 4:41. So what can we expect here from Norland's offense here on this play?
Well, I think they're going to continue to go for it, quite frankly. 4:35 left. You've got no other choice. 3rd down situation here. It's got to be a pass play. If Anyo Yapur, the athlete, not the quarterback, sees a lane open, he's not going to be afraid to take it with his own legs.
3rd and 5. Yapur looking, nowhere to go. Brought down, immediately stuffed, and nothing he could have done.
Just a great job by Central's pass rush as the game has gone on. They've kind of maintained the lead for most of this game now at this point, and as time has gone on, when they understand, okay, Norland's got to throw here to essentially save their lives in this football game, they've been able to pin their ears back, bring pressure, and get after the quarterback and make Anyo Yapur just uncomfortable and overwhelm him before he's able to get the ball out of his hands.
Loss of 2 yards, more than that. It's going to turn a 3rd and 5 into a 4th and 12, so a loss of 7 yards. And they're going to go for it regardless. At this point, you don't really got a choice. Time running out. You got to get some points on the board as Yapur looking, fires, nowhere, and he's brought down once again. Back-to-back plays, and this one is a turnover on downs for Miami Central. They get the ball back, and the clock continuing to go in their favor.
Unbelievable play. Anyo Yapur gets hit hard on that play when he's brought down. And that's kind of the tale of the tape here. If I'm Norland, that's who I want to have the ball in their hands here, if that is one of our last possessions here of meaning. Obviously doesn't go the way you want it to in the GMAC championship, but Miami Central, like I said, they've been able to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. They've done a great job. Their DBs have been excellent in coverage, not allowing big plays. And in the end, they were able to do a really good job of containing Terrence Honeywood, who wasn't the wide receiver 1 going into the night when comparing to Dawson Quarterman and his statistics over the past several weeks. But he did kind of grow into that role, and you expected him to step up, and The reason he wasn't able to was simply because Miami Central's DBs did such a great job. They've got 3 guys with 2 interceptions on the season. Dewey Davis almost had his 3rd. It was called back due to offsetting penalties, but they've done a great job tonight. They played the better football game overall.
Miami Central up 27. They're going to run it here. Going to bring in number 22 from Miami Central, but a loss on the carry is going to bring up 2nd down. That was Adrian Cox, the freshman running back, 5'7", 175. So the freshman back seeing some looks here late in the stages of this game.
Well, I think at this point you're looking to, with the lead, close out a clean football game, right? It's not quite over until it's over, as we've heard Mr. Wilcox say from within the stadium countless times here at Trask Powell, the Mecca. But you do want to give some of your guys who maybe don't see as much playing time, some of your younger guys, an opportunity to see the field and some meaningful game action before you continue on with your season, right?
2nd down coming up. Queen looking, firing deep, incomplete. Intended for Sterling once again. Then you got number 24 with the coverage, Keon Bryant.
Khalil Sterling, like I mentioned earlier, at one point this season was one of the top 3 receivers in terms of production for this football team. He's not currently listed in terms of most average yards per game or touchdowns in terms of the top 3 leaders, but make no mistake, that's more to the credit of how deep they are at the wide receiver position at Central and those skill position guys than it is necessarily an indictment on him.
2nd down coming up, 2nd and 15. 3:32 to go. Queen looking, fires, has a man, nope! Slipped out of the hands of Nashawn Montgomery, incomplete to bring up 3rd down.
Okay, this is where situational football matters. Back-to-back throws here when you're trying to drain the clock here, 3:28. You stop the clock now twice, and you bring about a long 3rd down situation. Not ideal. We want to get out of here. I don't understand those 2 play calls, I'll be honest. I can't rationalize those.
Yeah,
other than trying to show off and maybe make a big play downfield, which I guess I don't understand, but I acknowledge.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, you want to show off, I get it, but you got the championship on the line. You keep it in bounds. I mean, you're talking maybe, even if it's a 4th down, you got to punt it away. You're talking under 3 minutes to go on the clock, but now it's 3:27, and now they're going to run the ball here on this 3rd and long. Try to chew the clock out here as
but
finally brought down.
If you're Miami Central, you should have done that on the previous 2 plays.
Why do it now? Makes no sense.
That was honestly, that was bad football IQ right there. There's no other way of saying that. Now you bring about a 4th and long, you're going to punt it back, you're going to give life to a team that you could have essentially put on a chokehold right here to end the ball game.
Some timeout here as we got a 4th and long. Take a quick commercial break. You're watching HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. Welcome back, everyone, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. 27 with 3:15 to go here in the game. On a 4th and 13 here for Miami Central Rockets. Off a, let's just say lightly, a questionable drive here for the Miami Central Rockets. Passing for out of bounds with a 13-point lead on the last 2 plays, and on the 3rd and long, running it that time. And Cure said it best here in the booth, just poor football IQ. Gonna punt it here, and it's gonna give the Vikings, honestly, more time than they probably, Miami Central would have liked originally to get back in this game. Still down by 13. So a couple scores before it really becomes a game, but either way, why take the risk? So the Vikings offense will now come on to the field as we got just over 3 minutes to go. And I think it's fair to say the strategy of chewing the clock out for the Norland Vikings, that has gone out the window here, especially for this upcoming drive.
I mean, of course, you don't have the lead. You weren't able to play the style of football you wanted to. I think they'll have an opportunity here to maybe make some nice plays, but the reality is in a 2-possession game, 3 minutes and 7 seconds left, you haven't been able to move the chains consistently down the field since your first possession to start this game. I don't have a lot of faith in their ability to do it now all of a sudden back-to-back with 3 minutes to go. Pace has not been their strength, moving the chains has not been their strength, finishing drives has not been their strength this game. I don't expect it to all come together magically here in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go.
And pinned pretty deep in their own territory inside the 10 as we haven't said it in a couple of plays, it feels like, but once again, it has been the phrase of the fourth quarter. A flag is out on the field. Let's see what this is on, and it looks like it's going to be on the offense as they are pinned even further in their own territory, possibly in danger of giving up a 2-point safety.
Great field position here. When it comes to, of course, Miami Central, not Norland, but just pinning them back here, you force them to go the length of the field. Great punt previously. And it looks like there might be a safety there in the end zone.
Yapor brought down, and we talked about it earlier, 2-point safety, and that's exactly what they got.
Just a great play there by Miami Central. They have not necessarily dominated, but won every single phase of the game. Special teams, offense, defense. They played a complete football game tonight. You love to see it. They absolutely deserve this championship, and I told you about 6 minutes ago, 6 minutes of game clock ago, I said I didn't think it was the last time that we saw either team score. They put some more points on the board there, and as you can see, Norland sideline. Coach, not looking happy right now.
You did mention that those weren't going to be the last points we've seen. Were you banking on them being a safety?
I did not, but
be honest.
No, I did not. I'll be honest. But I purposely didn't say touchdown because I was like, man, a field goal here from Central, if anything, because I knew Vikings weren't going to attempt the field goal. You're playing to get back into this game. The math ain't math and going for a field goal. But I kept it a little bit open-ended because I figured another score would be coming down the pipeline. Did not expect the safety, though. Very impressive from Miami Central. That is a compliment to their special teams as well, right? Hunter does a great job of pinning them. The penalty moves them even further back into their own territory. And the pass rush is able to get after Yapor. And they've really been... That Norland offensive line has started collapsing here as the game has gone on because they just can't contain the pressure.
22-7 off the 2-point safety. 3:01 to go. And the Rockets have controlled this game from start to finish and looking to close it out in just a couple minutes time for their GMAC championship.
So proud of this team. They've had several scheduling conflicts over the course of this year because of weather and whatnot, and just way to come out here and perform. They could have very easily, off 13 days rest, come out sloppy. They scored right away. Wasn't always pretty. Their skill positions really showed their skill, and right now they're running it back up the right side. What a nice game from number 3 for this Central team. I mean, they are not taking their foot off the gas here. You'd love to see it.
Really nice game for Khalil Sterling. The offense comes on to the field, and I mean, if you're the Vikings, I mean, at this point, you don't got time on your side. You got to imagine it's going to be big play after big play just to try to make something happen.
I'm reading the chat right now. Some people, I think if GIFs were allowed in the YouTube chat, that GIF of the coach saying, "Bring me my money," that would feel pretty appropriate right now.
Oh, but what a day. I mean, just overall, we've seen plenty of action here at Trans-Powell Stadium.
Quality football. Very proud of all these guys. Another flag seems to be moving things downfield here.
How many flags do these refs have? Seriously. Vikings down now by 15. No, it's highly unlikely. But what are the chances we have a
I appreciate you doing your job here, trying to keep people invested.
It's like, hear me out.
I think a lot of people in our chat are invested, no pun intended, in the outcome of this game, but I think this one is central, and they did such a great job. And they played the football game that we expected them to play, and they came out here and they executed. They've always been great in the second half this season in terms of making adjustments. I credit not just Coach Juke, but that coaching staff. They always seem to figure out what is not working, and more importantly, what is. And they did a great job. Honestly, this was a team effort. The turnover, pinning them back on special teams, the safety, the touchdowns, coming out and having a really clean execution when it came to that opening drive.
Second half controlled by Miami Central. The Rockets. They're going to run it again. You got some room to actually lose the ball. It's going to be recovered by the Vikings over to the side.
And Norland now has excellent field position. Might be too little too late. Over 2 minutes to go, though. 2:01 on the clock here at Traz Powell. I mean, that's a costly mistake right there. And I'm a big fan of Jaden Ford. He has a touchdown earlier tonight. He had a touchdown that should have been ruled a touchdown that they said he stepped out of bounds on, which I think was bogus once I watched the replay. But yeah, that is a costly mistake.
Well, 2 minutes. They got good position.
Yeah, good field position for sure. No, you're absolutely right. I was very quick to scoff and silence you, but you know what? The game ain't over until it's over.
You're like, here we go. This guy's out going to start the he's going to start the campaign of the Miami Norland Vikings comeback.
No, but rightfully so.
2 minutes to go. Jaden Ford loses the ball, and the Vikings able to recover it. Great field position, probably their best field position that they've had here in this second half. As Yapur looking, being met with pressure, he's immediately brought down.
I keep on using the same phrasing, and I hate it when I get repetitive like this, but Miami Central pinning their ears back and just getting after Anyo Yapur, and it's been so successful because in a situation like that, you know what's gonna happen. You know he's dropping back. You know he's got to throw. You understand the magnitude of the moment here at GMAC Championship. You're trying to work your way back into this. Not a one-possession game. You know they've got to go for it. They can't play their style of football, and the pass rush has just gotten after him tonight.
Clock continues to wind down, and timeout. No, we got another flag on the field. What's it this time? You're going to be on the defense. In the meantime, took on Nathaniel Rosario, brought back in Zedquan Wright.
I've got an hour and a half drive back home after this game. I will not see as many yellow lights as I saw yellow flags tonight.
As Yapur steps back, looking, fires. He met with pressure, nearly sacked, and he just throws the ball away. It's going to bring up third down.
Just Miami Central, playing a good football game here. Don't want to make it too much about them in the end. Obviously, Norland did suffer a loss early in the game, and Dawson Quarterman on the first possession over the middle. He got cracked by Miami Central.
With a GMAC championship well earned for the Rockets.
Absolutely. I wonder in the rankings where they'll move to this point, because right now they're ranked 6th in the state. They beat 7. You move up one spot, I don't know how far they can potentially move up the rankings here.
Yapur looking, fires, has his man. That is number 6, picking up the first down. Terrence Honeywood, boots of chains.
Honeywood, nice catch, nice play. And obviously Central just trying to prevent defense at this point.
So we mentioned how, do you move up one spot in terms of the rankings? I guess it also depends on what the other teams do that are ahead of them.
Right, Venice, Lakeland, teams that are so talented, that have played such great football. That Venice versus Northwestern Bulls game to start the season when they went into overtime and Northwestern lost it in overtime, one of the best mixtapes I've watched on YouTube of a high school football game. That was so exciting.
Yapur looking, fires.
Wide open.
Over to 16, wide open, brought down just a couple yards shy of the end zone to Ronald Town.
I understand prevent defense. I know they're not going to be playing tight coverage, but man, felt like he was open by a mile right there.
Got a timeout. That is called. We'll take a quick commercial break with under 30 seconds to go here in the game. You're watching HBCU Plus and 305 Plus Network.
November is American Diabetes Month, but we're not here to celebrate it. Join us and move us closer to a cure. Someday, we can celebrate. Until then, we fight.
Prime Big Deal Days is coming October 8th and 9th. With exclusive savings just for Prime members, you'll feel like a big deal. Shop deals on electronics, fashion, and more this Prime Big Deal Days, October 8th and 9th.
Welcome back, folks, to HBCU Plus and the 305 Plus Network. 29 seconds to go here in the game. Rockets have all but sealed a victory, but the Vikings trying to put at least one more touchdown on the board as Yapur looking, fires, has his man, number 5, spits his way into the end zone. Jamari Smith punches it in for the touchdown.
Great job by Jamari Smith on that play. Jamari Smith, one of the quiet contributors tonight for Norland, one of those guys who had to step up, makes a play there, made multiple plays earlier in the night. That's a nice touchdown here. At this point, they were playing for pride, right? Just 24.9 to go. And still out of reach here at this point, before the extra point. If they send this one through the uprights, it's technically a one-possession game, of course. 8 points. It's possible. Now, is it probable is the question there.
I mean, if Miami Central doesn't kneel, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I don't want to insult Coach Jube or his coaching staff's football intelligence. I assume they'll kneel this one out if they get it back, and that's all she wrote. And just a great effort by both teams. Clean football. Obviously, referees got involved a little more than we would have liked there towards the end, but quality football being played. Everybody here should be incredibly proud of the effort they put in. Obviously, Norland feels like a very one-dimensional football team once they start playing competition that's close to them, right? Once you face a Northwestern team, or once you face a team like this in Miami Central, they're very heavily predicated on that run game through Daniel Yapur. He averages 93.5 rushing yards per game, nearly 100 yards from your quarterback. So he's very talented, and he's got a bigger body, and he's a true athlete, more than he is a quarterback, I think, in my opinion. But in the end, they just couldn't impose their will the way they wanted to on the offensive line and get that run game going early. And once they each scored, each team to open up this game, kind of felt like things got quiet. And in the end, the Rockets made better adjustments at the half, and they continued to grow their lead. And the Vikings didn't score again until there was only 24 seconds left on the clock.
Extra point is good. So 22-14 here with just 24 seconds to go. And the Rockets, well, the Vikings will come away with some pride, scoring a late game touchdown. The Rockets, they said, you can have the touchdown, we'll take the championship in exchange. 22-14, 24 seconds to go. Which has been a very competitive game, and you got to give credit to the Norland Vikings. You mentioned with the fatigue, maybe that set in the second half, but they played a really hard game here against Miami Central.
They did. Hard fought. And like I said, I mean, there's nothing more to it than Miami Central just played a more complete football game. And their pass rush got after it in the second half, and they really made it a point to stack the box early, and it worked out. There's a reason both of these teams were in this matchup, right? I don't think either one is on fraud alert, but I do think in retrospect, and I said this before the game a couple weeks ago to Hobbs, is that I felt like once Norland played up to their competition, they wouldn't be able to get away with Daniel Yapur literally playing like Josh Allen and just picking up these massive chunks of yardage. Miami Central saw right through that. I don't know what the final box score will be tonight. I don't have stats in front of me that are live, but I assume he had less than 50 or 60 rushing yards, which would still be a ton for a quarterback, but it's significantly less than he's used to doing. And Norland looks like they might be signaling that they got the ball here. What a turn of events that would be with 23.4 on the clock.
If Norland gets the ball, we might have to bring the comeback train back. Still waiting. Waiting on official word.
And based on the reactions here in the booth on the other side where the coaches for Norland are residing, and what they're saying on the field, looks like they have a fighting chance here.
Unbelievable. 23 seconds, 8 points, Norland ball.
Technically a one-possession game. This has got to be the most Madden thing I've ever. I was gonna say.
Who generated this?
Yeah.
So we'll have to hold off on that statement I made earlier about the Rockets taking the championship, because depending on how this goes, it's not over yet. You got to imagine that Miami Central, they're sweating a little bit now, knowing that, oh, they got the ball and they're in our own territory.
I'm honestly, as a fan right now, forget being an announcer, I'm actually so excited for this game. This has proven to be everything we wanted it to be and more.
So they try to go for a little bit of a play. Here's Yapur, look to throw, but he is immediately brought down by Miami Central. They try to go for a little bit of a sneak play here with Kai Moore and Anino Yapur. Kind of just blew up in their face right there as Yapur wasn't able to get the ball away in time.
Central's had a couple of these like situational football moments at the end of games where they let teams that, I was going to say don't deserve, but it sounds harsh against a Norland team that's played relatively well, but like teams that just simply haven't played their best football all game long, they kind of let them sneak back into it. And we saw earlier, I would attribute this to with about 3 minutes left, like they threw the ball on back-to-back downs and then they decided to run it. You've had moments here to close out the game, and because of penalties and situational awareness and situational football and play calling, feels like you have given Norland life. You put them on a ventilator, and right now they're about to.
16 seconds. It's a second and long. Second and 20. This is the day. This is the game right here for the Norland Vikings. Time is running out.
I'm reading this chat and they're saying this game is going to be at 0-0 on the clock, like it's going to read triple zeros, and he's still going to be saying that there's a chance.
So what you're telling me is that there's a chance.
I do appreciate the chat. Although we don't always, obviously the chat is usually pretty critical of us, if I'm being honest, but they do keep us self-aware. I appreciate that.
Hey, chat, hear me out. There's a flag on the play. The Vikings have gained yardages. The Vikings have gained yards off a penalty. There is a chance. Hear me out, chat.
I don't know what I should say. Read that last shit. They
definitely bet on Norland.
They think you might have put some
I put all my college savings on Norland. As here we go. The catch over to the sideline.
See, like good situational football awareness, run out of bounds. You would think that's obvious, right? But like, I don't know. For certain teams, it's not.
We're all just having fun.
We are.
Listen, I'm from Broward, okay? So unless we're talking like Hollywood Hills or West Broward, then then you'll really determine if I'm glazing or not.
Yeah, I'm from Miami, so I just like high quality football being played on Friday nights, and I've had the benefit of watching that my entire life. So great play there by Terrence Honeywood. Good football IQ, going out of bounds. You can't take that for granted in a football game like this. Guys will make mistakes under pressure.
9 seconds to go. Yapur looking, fires over the middle, has a man. Brought down. That is number 16, Ronald Towns. And that's going to end the game.
And he was brought down inbounds. There's a lot of controversy right now in the booth. Obviously, coaches from each side essentially arguing with each other, but he was tackled inbounds, in my opinion. That means it's the end of the ball game at that point. I don't know. Norland seems to believe that they've still got time to run another play.
I don't know. I'm taking a look at the replay here from Hero Ben's.
Yeah, we got my tablet open here. Watching the chat, but also watching this game. You want me to rewind a little bit?
Yeah, let's rewind a little bit just to see.
Okay, throws the ball. He was tackled in bounds.
Yeah, he was tackled in bounds. Yeah, that's clear.
It's pretty clear.
So that's going to do it for the game, and the Rockets claim the GMAC championship. What a game. and the GMAC championship belongs to Miami Central. What a job. 22-14 is the final score. Ben, what a game.
Incredible. In the end, you kind of see the agony of defeat and the great feeling of winning. And he was in bounds. He was tackled in bounds. That's the way it goes.
So that'll do it for us here on HBCU Plus and the Sun Digital Network. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and congratulations to the Miami Central Rockets on winning the GMAC championship.
Please be careful.